Hi everybody, this is Carrick from Angry Centaur Gaming, and today I bring to you the review for Remember Me for the Xbox 360. A riveting tale of cats, crayons, and stolen dinner recipes, Remember Me weaves an intricate tale of espionage and those that live the life. Thank you, stolen communist gold, for allowing me to buy so many games in a small amount of time. But let's see if it was worth it, shall we? Now what we're going to do is something a little different. This time we're going to see if the game is Harrison Ford or if it's Burt Reynolds. Harrison Ford before he got flock-hearted, of course, and Burt Reynolds pre-surgery, but post-Lonnie. No, wait, we'll have to see if it's Burt Reynolds. Ooh, or Tom Selleck. Battle of the Mustaches, let's do this. Or maybe Jan Michael Vincent when he still had both eyes. Now, we're going to go with Bandit versus Selleck, Man of Action. And I'm calling him Burt Reynolds on purpose because just look at his face, it's all freaky. So you play as Niln, a memory hunter in a world where memories have taken center stage as both a drug and as almost a black market currency. So it's like the Adderall of today and the future of tomorrow, today, but now. But not here. The game begins with the main character in a dangerous way, sort of like me walking in downtown Harlem with nothing but my whitey tidies on and a windbreaker that says Oregon Rocks. They do a great job of setting up the story and immediately immersing you in the world. And this game world has a telltale feel of denseness, not like talking to a pro football player about creationism dense, but Neil Asher's Snowblind dense. That's an amazing novel if you aren't aware. Sometimes it feels like you picked up a cyberpunk sci-fi novel, and it's like that first paragraph that you read, and maybe there are 40 words you don't understand in just that first paragraph, and for a moment your balls sort of tingle in fear and anticipation as you either set it down or move on. Yeah, it's just like that. And in no time, they instantly created a world that made me wonder and care more about it than the past Assassin's Creed games. And now, that might make some game fans angry because Assassin's Creed is held up by many lofty standards, the kind of which are usually reserved for internet celebrities and John Tesh. But I still think it's that interesting. It's a great game. That polished. Maybe not completely polished, but interesting nonetheless. The world offers hints left and right to an overarching feel and atmosphere that sort of sinks into your bones like a cold morning makes you have to piss. You can tell an incredible amount of care went into the overall design. And after reading just a bit about the background of the game, you either buy into the world or you buy some smokes and watch the game crater like Microsoft stocks when Balmer releases his much anticipated amateur adult video. Now graphics, simply put, they're pretty stunning. There's some aliasing here and there that I would have loved to have seen go away or seen this on a next-gen system, but it's pretty amazing. Cities are vertical, crawling affairs with underworld hints and overworld shine. It's got a lot going for it in most places, though you would assume that Escher had to have a hand in designing the world, because sometimes, sense, this world makes none. And the buildings and architecture is some next level shit with an attention to detail that either points to idiot savants or professionals. You make the choice. I was also strangely aware of a continual longest journey 2 vibe to the game, just an overall feel. Now the characters' graphics are either passable or pretty damn impressive, with what looks like different face budgets for some of them, so you either get a sort of general stroke victim look that most games have, or you find the occasional character where it looks like the artist was on Pro Vigil all day and they focused on the character's wrinkles. All in all, it fits though, and it looks really good. Now gameplay, a couple odd things, like the setup of the world is something right out of fucking Mario 64. I mean, imagine your grandma Nanners needing to go out and buy ingredients for her special shrimp and peach soup. I hope she doesn't have a bad hip, because the aged bitch is gonna need to be leaping and climbing to her destination more than Armstrong fought to keep his head above water during his drug scandals. And speaking of blood doping and steroids, I hope she has some, because nothing in the world is a fucking straight line. She's going to need some serious upper body strength for some of this shit. Imagine everyone in the future being born with a specialized P gene that stood for parkour, because sometimes you get to a place, there's just a dude standing there, like on a single ledge, looking around like a fucking pigeon, scoping for bald heads. I wish I could talk to them, because why? How the hell did you get up here? It lends a bit of mystery to the game, I guess, but I personally could have done with a bit less platforming or had it mended in with the game a little bit better. However, what platforming is there is easy as pie, so there is that. Now combat, the fighting's bombastic, but does have an odd pause in between hits, like the game feels bad for the bad guys and is giving you a moment to take it back. The main character has the acrobatics of a short attention span rhesus monkey, coupled with the kicks and punches of Jackie Chan. It's a unique look to the fight, makes me wonder how cool ballet would be if they allowed you to punch one another while on stage. And there's an overabundance of moves that can then be put together in a combo lab that allows you to sort of finagle till your OCD heart is content, make your combos your own for as long as you like. Or you'll stroke out from sleep deprivation, but what a way to go. One thing I also mentioned a few times I'm going to cover a little bit here. Okay, let's be honest, the game hinges on it like I hinge on a drug dealer, but it's this memory remix option. I won't spoil it, but it was done really well, if sparingly, and had me pretty excited for when the next one would occur. How it mends these new memories back into the game world is also quite well done. It was really good times to see how that worked. Now, sound. Impressive. That doesn't mean imps are involved, far from it. The man who made this deserves some serious kudos and at least one vague sexual favor. A great soundtrack through and through. It's like he lives on another fucking planet where everything is sound and rhythm and he's Justin Timberlake bringing the beats from alien worlds. It was awesome during the fights to have the music remix as you went along. He has an amazing, almost savant-like way of wrapping the music with the game world, but I don't want to continue because I don't want it to sound like I have a crush on him. But God, I hope he likes the flowers I sent. And it would be great if it wasn't held back by voice acting from old USA Channel Sunday matinee kung fu theater writing. It would be even better. Imagine, if you will, a world that smells of the past, reeks of a shitty but interesting present, promises a futile and dangerous future, but all of it's described to you by Chen from the Hangover movies after one too many parties at She-Male Softies Bar and Grill. At times it is fan-dub bad, and at other times it's Resident Evil bad, and at other times it's actually good. Sadly, at all times it actually does hold you a bit back from the game world, though I admit that after a couple hours the incredibly weird and stilted delivery actually began to become sort of a part of the world. I don't know if I was numb from headache-inducing grammar, or perhaps taking Quaaludes before I played wasn't the best idea, but there was something about it that sort of mended together and the shit sort of started to make sense, even though it doesn't. You see, it's not on purpose. It's best to pretend that it is otherwise because, yeah, it's not the best. And if you do pretend that it is, you can sort of fit it into this weird future world because grammar does change, and though none of these guys are wordsmiths, you can tell they were aiming for a particular speech pattern to set the game world from others, and they did, for good or bad. So what do you get when you purchase Remember Me? It's a long, beautiful platforming fighting adventure game set in an incredibly interesting world with some very far-reaching and interesting ideas. It's long, has a pretty sweeping story, and is up to snuff when compared to most all other games out there, but slightly held back by the voice acting and a few combat weirdnesses. So as always, as you guys know, I rate games on a pretty simple scale. It's buy, wait for a sale, rent, or go ahead and use as a coaster and throw it at somebody's face. I would say this is a buy. It can hinge a little bit towards wait for a sale, but it's long enough, it's beautiful enough, there's enough to do within the game that I personally have no problem that I went out and tried to find this. It's fun, it pays you back for your involvement with game mechanics that make sense in the world, a fighting system that's fairly well developed and can be customized until your heart's content, and a music soundtrack that, my God, guys, it hits on all cylinders the entire time. Beautiful soundtrack. All of it mends together into a full game world, and it's a game world that is interesting enough that by just playing this one game, I want to see more about this world. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if they release novels or comic books or something like that, I would read them. And though I'm a fan of the Assassin's Creed games, sometimes with the Assassin's Creed games, you sort of have to just go like, yeah, whatever. And you do that occasionally here as well. But maybe it's the freshness, the newness, or just how much the developers have put into the game world to make everything make sense. And even the things that are mysterious, I mean, it's exciting. You're sitting there going like, whoa, what does this mean? You know, it's got the Watchdog style text presentation that floats over things. The game world just seems alive. They put so much work into it, and I'm going to hit on it one more time. The game has some kind of strange Longest Journey 2 and Longest Journey 1 overall feel to it. I'm not going to say it's within the game story itself. I'm not going to say because it's a female protagonist. In fact, I'm really probably not even going to describe it. It's just the vibe I got, and it was a very good, very familiar, and very welcome vibe. I thank you for listening. Leave a comment, hit like if you can, subscribe if you like crazy, and remember the sage advice of Donnie Trejo. Never wear another man's underwear when going out to dance. This is Carrick from Angry Centaur Gaming saying peace out, bitches.